I'm so excited to see you tonight.
First date, baby. First date, I can't wait. First date.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of First Date. My guest today is a motivational speaker. He's a skateboarder. He's an author. You may know him from Jackass, but he's currently striving to help millions of people who struggle with addiction and recovery. Give it up for Brandon Novak.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you for coming on my show.
I know we intended to do this before and I had to back out like last second, so I apologize for that.
It's okay. Most people have second thoughts about me.
I would never. I just didn't know enough about you to like fucking call it off yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes.
That's fair.
The night is young.
But you have a lot of tattoos. I dig that.
I do. I have them. I hate getting them. I can't stand them.
I don't believe you.
I really, some people do it like a lot of chicks I find it like, oh, I don't mind it. I find it very like relaxing and therapeutic. I fucking hate every second of it.
Why do you get them?
Well, because I like the after effects.
Yeah.
I like the look of. But
tattoos.
now I got put on with this like numbing cream that I use and that I will not get tattooed without it now.
Really?
People are like, oh, you're a fucking pussy. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I am. I absolutely am. I'm a fan of working smarter, not harder these days.
Yeah. Do you have any that you regret?
No, my worst ones are my best ones.
What do you mean?
I could show you a couple, but you'd really probably look at me really differently.
That's okay. Show me one.
So, okay. To set the premise of this for it to maybe make sense to you and maybe as a stretch, we had been sniffing coke for like 5 or 6 days straight, right? So like no sleep at all. It's 5 a.m. in the morning and me and my buddy Bam are shooting a game of pool. He wins the game of pool because I win the game of pool, right? I win the game of pool. We then go into a room, lay on a bed. He puts a pillow over my head, pulls a laptop out, jerks off, and comes onto my arm, which is this right here. And we have a tattoo artist there with us who's also partying. So he then traces the cum around my, where it lands, and then goes over and puts the cum in me. So essentially I've been came in by a man and I've never even been fucked by a man.
Yeah.
So it's all so wrong that it's just fucking right.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like that's going to make Jason Ellis very jealous.
Yeah, he's that's my guy. He's a good friend of
I feel like, does he know about that tattoo?
No, I don't think. No.
I'm going to DM this part to him and be like, I can't believe with all your tattoos, you haven't done this.
Yeah. He would, I'm sure, if the opportunity presented itself.
Yeah.
That
I'm
man's
sure it
a
has
legend.
actually presented itself.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah.
That's cool. Are you? Do you have them on your chest and are you like your legs and everything?
No,
are you like fully?
My legs aren't like covered. There's sporadic spots. My chest, I'm actually, after I got sober, I kind of started to like, I don't know, I got tired of looking at like weird little patchwork all over my body. So I'm kind of cleaning this all up and making it a uniformed kind of deal. So I'm in the process of having my chest finished.
Yeah.
And that's almost there.
Do you like girls who have a lot of tattoos?
I don't find that attractive.
No?
At all, which most people would say or think that I do.
Yeah.
Quite the contrary.
You like a girl who's just kind of like virgin skin?
Yeah. I think it's because it's really abnormal to see someone without a tattoo these days. It's such like the prerequisite to fucking, a specific culture.
Yeah.
And now it's like to see someone without, I'm like, wow, that's like fucking admirable.
I got one tattoo, but I always forget that I have it because it's on my butt.
Really? What is it?
A kiss print.
Huh.
I know. It's just like a little kiss on the butt cheek.
Okay.
I got it so that I could have
my ex's lips here.
Okay.
One of my exes there.
Mine's just red.
I'm not really a colored guy.
Yeah, but this is my only one, it has, and I wanted it to look really real. Like I wanted it to look like someone kissed me on the cheek.
So I'm thinking of, I was out with this woman last night, and she had told me about a tattoo that she got, and she like does writing for stand-up comics.
Fun.
And she only as well had one tattoo on her back. Oh, it was like a tramp stamp, and it was of a coat hanger. And I was like, well, what's the reasoning behind that? And she's like, I don't know. I think I was just drunk and got it. And she's like, but I've since had it removed because there's like that old saying of what women used to do with coat hangers, which was perform abortions.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, yeah, so it didn't really go over so well.
Yeah.
So when you talked about that, although it's not, hers wasn't on her ass, I have a tattoo on my ass too.
What's your tattoo?
It says Nidiot, Nidiot, but the eyes are dotted in hearts, and it's another cocaine story.
So what percentage of tattoos did you get while under the influence?
Oh, fuck, the majority of
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have this one on my leg that it says, I talked about this before, but it says I could show it to you if you like.
Keep your pants on.
Because I don't wear underwear, but I would like cover it up. But
I've seen enough of
it
Ari
says,
Shafir to last me a lifetime.
I went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and all I got was fucked up the ass. Or I forget what it says. It's here, and I don't look at it that often.
I
don't know.
Why.
It doesn't make sense now. I have to see it, and I forgot it, and I'm tongue-tied. And I'm kind of a bit on a lot of meds because I like started coming down with something last night.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like you're
just like
sick?
a head deal. And I had come too far to cancel, so we're just in it together, all right? Fucking deal with it.
Stay the fuck over there. I
Fucking
won't be
deal
hugging
with
you
it.
goodbye. We're going to start off with some appetizer questions. So are you went out with a girl last night, so I'm assuming that you're single.
What I am is a 46-year-old grown man who lives with 3 cats.
Okay.
And I don't know what that says about where I'm at in life or stature. But yes, I am single. I believe I was a cat in my past life, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
I have a lot of the same attributes or characteristics.
Like a leopard cat or a house cat?
I wish I could be that rat. No, just like a street little fucking
alley
rat
cat.
Kitten that was born.
A stray cat.
Yeah, out of like a good night of partying.
Yeah.
That's because I like to know what's going on with things, but without being in the mix.
Okay.
I like to pick and choose who I give my attention to. I like to leave when I want to leave. When I'm not traveling, I eat the same thing every day, and I keep odd hours.
How do you meet girls?
Generally through I'm on that Raya app.
Uh-huh.
And that
I was on
works.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have been on that app.
But it's like a gift and a curse. I've been really blessed with this beautiful life, and I'm kind of my own boss to an extent, and I create my own schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And at 46, kind of really being dialed into my routine and a specific way of life that I don't like having fucking not go the way I like it to go. It's tough to have someone come in and disrupt my routine. You know what I mean?
So are you looking for a girlfriend?
No.
Okay, so you're kind of just having fun. You meet people, you go out, and then how long does that usually last?
It's not even like I'm like looking for fun. Like, to be quite honest, if I'm far past the point of just trying to fuck, right? Like, it'd be easier for me to just jerk off. It saves time. It's less consuming, and it just works better. The app's rad because you meet people and, you know, off of a physical connection. But if I don't sit down at a table and a conversation doesn't get me off, then I get really bored really quick.
Do you ever leave?
I have.
Are you honest about it? Are you just like, this isn't working out, or?
I'm not that much of a man. I know it. Because 2 things that I'm fucking terrible with in my life is confrontation and people pleasing. And with those 2 together, I just dig myself in a really deep hole.
When you say you're not good with people pleasing, like you don't care to please other people, or you overcompensate and you try to be a people pleaser?
Well, and it all stems from a pretty traumatic childhood with my father. He was like a gnarly Hells Angels biker kind of guy who also was addicted to crack and died of an overdose. So we endured a lot of traumatic shit as kids coming up. and he was a pretty rough guy. So from that grew into me kind of like, yeah, you want to do it? Yeah, like I'll do that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And then, although I don't want to, and then I just say yes to people please, and then I just don't because I don't want the confrontation.
Oh,
so I
I
just
see.
kind of split.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you, oh man, I just had a really good, do you have a celebrity crush?
No, I don't.
No?
I really don't. I don't.
That's so weird to me.
I'm sure I really live in my own world, and I'm so consumed with my life, and which is probably another reason why I'm single. It's because like selfishly, I love my selfishness. Right?
Yeah.
I love to be able to today, if I want to leave here and get on a flight and go to fucking Spain to skate, or, you know, Florida to hang out, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I can do that and don't have to run that by anyone.
Was there a time in your life where you felt like kind of trapped by a relationship?
No, but ironically enough, what happened for me was throughout the majority of my life, the guy who I disliked the most, which was my father, right? He was just a gnarly guy and taught me like one thing in life, and that was if and when I went to prison, how to conduct myself.
That was what he taught you?
Yeah. He was really disconnected from reality. Well, he was just disconnected from this reality. You know,
Yeah.
he lived in his own world too. So the point that I'm getting at is like the man that I really despised the most, I became the most liked, right? Meaning that my father, everyone loved him except his family. And prior to me getting sober, I always had a woman in my life. And it wasn't because I'm like this egotistical, like, I have a chick. It was what I didn't know then that I see clear as day now. It was really more of a survival mechanism. Because I had the wherewithal and the common sense that like, okay, I'm this fucking insane, strung out drug addict that can't get sober to save his life. I could get things, but I couldn't keep things. So I knew that like I couldn't even deal with myself. So another woman like me, we'd go to hell in a handbasket. So I would get really well put together women with no tattoos, you know, successful lives, to kind of keep things afloat, right?
Like a balance.
A balance, more so like a roof over my head,
Oh,
and a
okay.
fucking car to drive, and you know, like because I could get money, I couldn't keep money. I could get a house, I couldn't keep a home. So they would keep things afloat and managed, if you will. And I at that time was like in love with these women, but I had no idea what was really going on with me. And what it was doing is it was allowing me to avoid having to look at me, which was why I got high essentially, right? So I could focus all my attention and time onto someone else. And it worked for a long time until my walls kind of crashed in, and I was blessed with finding sobriety. And now coming up on like almost 10 years, I've done a lot of work on myself, a lot of internal work, and I've had like this whole spiritual experience, and I fucked around and I started to like myself a little bit. And then I started to like really fucking like myself, and then like fucking love myself. And now it's like again, coming up on 10 years I've been sober, I've been on like 3 or 4 relationships. So ironically enough, when you would think that I would be most eligible to be with a woman because I'm in the best shape ever, like physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, like aces across the board, I'm not with any, you know what I mean? It's like completely backwards.
Well, it sounds like the first time you're kind of like into yourself, like you're doing it all by yourself without having an umbrella.
Totally. Like I'm self-sufficient, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't need someone to carry my hand or like to co-sign my shit to fucking
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Dude, it's fucking liberating. I feel like that would be the word a woman would use if I were a woman. I feel like I was fucking liberated. You brought out that in me because I don't think I've ever used that word with such passion or conviction.
Well, that's great. I'm glad. Like, I feel like Dr. Drew. This is my little Dr. Drew moment.
He'd be stoked.
Well, that's cool.
So I'm sure that there's plenty of women that I find attractive, but I just get so consumed in my own fucking shit that like I don't really.
Yeah.
I live in my own world, and people are like, "You live in your own world," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's right." And I think everyone should.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why the fuck shouldn't I live in my own world? And obviously, in my world, I'm kind, I'm compassionate, I'm loving to all my brothers and sisters, but nonetheless, It makes me happy.
Yeah.
So I'm probably like not a great guest for this because I don't really have a celebrity crush. I'm just kind of like.
That's okay. We can get to know you. And I think that you having your personal time and like not wanting to date as seriously because you feel like that could take away from what you're accomplishing for yourself is also interesting. Like that's actually very different. So I think it's interesting.
I've tapped into all these weird like approaches to kind of discover or rediscover who I am, what drives me, and to end up in these different outcomes that I'm not used to. Like I've also given up jerking off. Like I don't watch porn unless it's with a woman. And it wasn't even really like a reason for it. I just wanted like the actual physical act of having sex to be something more than just like, oh, I have 10 minutes to kill. Let me go fucking jerk off real quick.
Yeah.
You know?
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Alo or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the business that is making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that's Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. I like Shopify because it's so user-friendly and their customer care is great. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Alo and Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/date, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/date to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/date. So when you do go out with a girl,
Yeah.
the conversation is really important.
Well, I don't do well with small talk.
Yeah.
And I actually was out with a woman not too long ago, and she said to me, she said, oh yeah, she said, with my housemate. And I'm like, oh, you have a housemate? And I'm like, what's that about? And she's like, oh, it's like this 60-year-old gay guy. And I'm like, oh, I used to live with this gay guy too, but it was probably under like different circumstances. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I used to allow this gay guy to shave my asshole, and that's how I would pay my rent to live at his house. And I'd imagine you probably don't let him shave your asshole. and it's, I'm just, again, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay.
Yeah. And then I proceeded to finish the story with, and I lived with him for a long time doing that. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was one day I was really sick and withdrawing off heroin, and I stole his CD Walkman and I went and pawned it, and that was where I took it too far.
That was too much for him.
The shit. And the thing was, I love like humans and the way that we're wired, and because we're realistically we're the same, right? Like 10 fingers, 10 toes, woman, man, eyes, nose, ears, mouth. But what the way you're wired and what might get you off might completely fucking disgust me, and vice versa. Now this homosexual man, God bless him, a great guy, he got off on shaving my asshole, but he didn't even like jerk off while he was doing it. He just did it. I could give a fuck less about shaving anyone's asshole. It would do nothing for me. But isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
Think about that.
No.
I do. I do. But I've also done a lot of things that a lot of people would think are fucking not right to do.
Like what? Well, I think by getting a tattoo of cum on your arm is something that's probably there.
Yeah. And I don't want to act as if I'm glorifying all of these behaviors, because this is like, and hopefully people can today see the juxtaposition from who I was then as opposed to who I am now, which despite all this fucking nonsense I've been spouting, I've like devoted my life to helping people who too maybe let a gay man shave their asshole for drugs because they're in a situation they don't want to be in, or
Is
whatever.
that a common thing?
Well, it could be. It was common for me, right? So like,
Yeah.
it just depends.
I just would love to see you have a conversation with someone else who was like, oh my God, no way, me too.
You could find that at a fucking, go to a treatment, check yourself into a rehab, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
depends on the audience.
I'd be so scared to go to a treatment center.
I
think you have to be brave. Like,
Well, you know
have
what? It's funny you said that, because like I do a lot of interviews and they always say like, what's the craziest thing you've done? What's the scariest thing that you've done? And they expect me to say something from like Viva La Bam or Jackass or skateboarding. And the truth of the matter is, the scariest thing I've ever done to date was walk into my last treatment center, number 13.
I would be really scared.
Yeah.
I'd be scared to see what was there and how people were ill and doing, and like listening to your stories is cool. You make it fun. Like,
yeah.
you know, but like there's a lot of people who don't have any humor or can't find a way out, and it's very dark.
For sure. Well, at the point in time that I walked into that last facility, May of 2015, I was like really disconnected from reality. And it had been a long time since I found optimism or any reason to smile or laugh about anything in life. So if you kind of did it in my presence, I took it personal and I wasn't fucking happy about it. But again, I've done a lot of work to get to where I'm at now, to, God willing, be a light at the end of that very dark, drab tunnel.
Yeah.
Where people are that don't really know if there's a way out, or take it personal because you're happy, to let them know that they too can get to where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's so it's, yeah.
Yeah.
You too cannot have to let a man shave your asshole anymore for heroin or rent if you want.
Well, it's good. You know, you have to, I think as in a sense of relatability, you have to have at least been there in some capacity to be able, for even a drug addict to even listen to your advice.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
I don't have any like really great drug stories. Like if I were to try to go help someone like not do drugs, I feel like I would get punched in the face.
Yeah, I mean, that could potentially happen.
You know, I have a punchable face already.
So it's good that you know that.
Yeah, I do.
Awareness is worth its weight
And then
in
once
gold.
I start talking, it's done.
Game over.
Oh my God.
Just show them your fucking lips on your ass.
Yeah, and they're like,
everything will be
oh,
good.
fuck this bitch.
They're like,
So,
we'll give her a pass.
yeah. So I admire that you can go talk to them and do that, because dang, I couldn't. We're going to get into some main course questions now. Do you have, so besides skateboarding, do you have any other hidden talents?
Hidden talents. Well, it turns out that I'm a really good motivational speaker, which is nothing I ever like intended on doing or wanting to be.
How did you find that you were good at motivational speaking?
People just started asking me to speak at more events.
Really?
And it was like, nothing that I do today was done by design. I'm not fucking nearly clever enough to create this picture for what you view me in.
Was it like a snowball effect? You just started doing one good thing and...
Yeah, but it all stemmed from me ending up in this place where, A, I didn't know how the fuck I got to, and B, had no clue how I was going to get out. So what that did is it allowed me to eliminate any plan, right? And that lack of plan produced the best of plans, because it allowed me to get the fuck out of my way, because I was always the problem, right? I'm the common denominator in all of my problems. And that's when I surrounded myself with like really good people who have my best intentions at heart. And I just kind of dumbed my way into this position by simply, my journey started with me at 38 years old, washing dishes in a diner for $6 an hour under the table.
Really?
Yeah. After treatment center number 13, I had fucking pissed away everything. I had walked into treatment with literally the clothes. I walked into treatment at the story's way too long to get into, but I feel like you'll fancy this. before I walk into treatment, I only thing I owned in this world was I had 8 scarves, 2 jackets, 3 socks, a stick of deodorant. It all fit into this bag that doubled as my pillow, a needle, a spoon, and a restraining order. That's all I had, and a passport. I had a passport with that, but that's all I owned at 38. And I was going to attempt to board this flight to go to Fort Lauderdale to live with some stripper out of Baltimore. But before I got on that flight, I was going to go cop some more heroin because I didn't want to get sick on the flight. And when I went to cop, they robbed me. And when they robbed me, they ripped my front and back pockets completely out. And I had no underwear on. So now my dick and my ass are completely exposed. I had this like nice button-up shirt on, and they ripped the shirt open. And the only button that stayed buttoned was this very top button. And I had these shoes on with one shoestring because I had lost the other shoestring along the way from like tying up to shoot up with it. So I then attempt to go to BWI airport to board a flight looking like a gay East LA cholo gangbanger. And they denied me access to this flight, which in turn allowed me to call my sponsor, this guy I'd met in AA like years ago. And he guided and directed me to this treatment center. And in this treatment center, I completed it. And after 90 days, I had no idea what I was going to do, right? Like I didn't graduate high school. I got my GED in the penitentiary, but like it didn't really matter. I had written a book, and I was like a skater, and I was like in those movies, Jackass, but it didn't really equate to any like, you know, traits or qualities that I had that would deem me worthy for a particular position at a job. So I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do. And now at the time, my mind told me I should have been at least the president of the United States, at the very least, right? And some people of mine, they found me a job washing dishes at this diner for $6 an hour under the table. And I like took pride in washing those dishes, and I started like showing up every day, and I would come early and I would stay late, and I only called out one day out of the whole year that I worked there. And that was like unlike my behaviors.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was not how I would carry myself prior to. And what I didn't know then that I know now is that job was creating like the foundation and stability that the rest of my life will be built on, including my recovery.
Yeah.
And for that job and washing those dishes. And I had my coworker was a 14-year-old kid next, you know what I mean? So like I had always heard that word humility, and it rolled off the tongue so brilliantly, but like until I experienced it was a whole different story.
Is that when you started getting sober?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's from that point to today, you know, in my mind, I'm still waiting for like the grown-ups to show up and take care of everything.
Yeah.
But I've, you know, been blessed to achieve like a lot of beautiful things, and I own a lot of different businesses, and I think maybe from some outside perspectives, I kind of have it put together a little bit. And again, I'm still like in here waiting for the fucking grown-up to show up and take care of it.
Well, it sounds
Yeah.
like you're...
So what my people tell me now is the very last thing that I've chose to address or work on, because it's the hardest thing, is relationships.
Yeah.
Because like I can get vulnerable with a room full of 5,000 people, no problem. I can get vulnerable with you. But like let me do that with someone that I really am connected with, that like we leave here and go home together. Mm-hmm. Right? That's like a difficult thing for me.
So after you've experienced, I feel like you've experienced so many things in life that would be like drugs and all these things. Like when you want to escape,
Yeah.
you go and find something that makes you happy, right?
Sure.
So now that you're sober, what is your guilty pleasure?
I was so disconnected from reality so long that like I like going to the grocery store. I like when my house is clean. I like when things are in order. I like riding my bike. I find it very therapeutic, and I just kind of cruise through, and like a pedal bike, just as simple. Skateboarding, obviously, I love. Cats I'm a fucking cat fanatic. I will open a cat sanctuary when like I have nothing but time.
Have you ever been to a cat cafe?
Yeah. they're like, that's kind of strange to me though. I mean, it's a very nice sentiment, you know, and I agree with it all, but it's almost like, it's like, I'm fucking insane in my head. I'm thinking the parallel is like, it's like the red light district in Amsterdam. But like, you know, obviously I'm not going to fuck the cats, but like there's just these cats in the window and you have to go and you have to pay $20 or whatever to sit in a room and like let them fucking run around.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I'm allergic to cats.
Really?
I'm allergic to anything that sheds, even dogs.
That's a shame.
I know. It sucks. I have a dog though, but she's hypoallergenic. She doesn't shed.
Okay.
But I love animals.
Yeah.
My mom got a cat and I was pissed. I was like, why in the world would you get a cat when you know that I'm allergic?
She wanted you out of the fucking house.
She was like, the cat's around more than you are.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm like, oh. And so now she has a cat. And so, yeah, I think cats are really cool, but I can look at them.
That's cool.
But I can't touch them.
From afar.
Yeah, and that sucks. I'm very hands-on.
What's up with your love life? Do you have a guy?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I have a boyfriend. I'm 6 months pregnant.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. And
how'd you meet him?
at his restaurant. He owns a barbecue restaurant.
Cool. Here in
So-
Austin, I presume.
Yeah. So we met at his restaurant and we've been together for over like 2.5 years.
Right on.
Yeah. So that's
I was
my
engaged
relationship.
twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Sober?
No. No, fuck off. No.
You're like, have you listened to anything I've said at all?
No, not at all. I have no desire to want to get married today.
Yeah.
I don't. And everyone's like, oh, you just haven't met the right woman. And maybe that's the case, but I've met women. That's not really the issue.
Yeah.
I think partnerships are rad. Mm-hmm. Open relationships are rad. I think.
That's
you don't.
good. Well, I would be terrified to have an open relationship. I'm too insecure. I know for a fact I could never handle sharing.
Sure.
For like the first step of everything.
Sure.
Yeah. And I would just want to feel like I was the only person.
I've been referred to as emotionally unavailable
That's okay.
often. So I don't really think I'd have a problem with that. Truth be told.
Yeah, I think that men are also different than women when it comes to open relationships. Like, I believe that a guy can separate himself and his like desires with sexuality and emotional stuff much better than a woman can.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised when men are more open to it. When a woman is open to it, I just think she's bi.
Which most women seem to have no issue with.
If you're bi, like if you're into women and men, then an open relationship doesn't come across as strikingly odd.
I think the narrative's changing though these days with what the norm is, right? Because as a child, when I was a kid, you know, the norm was the husband, the 3 kids, the dog, the house, the white picket fence. And I think today, and I don't know, maybe I got it. It's not like I'm fucking engulfing myself in tons of married relationships. And I don't really hang out with a lot of people in a lot of relationships, obviously, because I'm not in one. But I don't believe that a lot of relationships work. Even my fucking therapist, who's a marriage counselor, is going through a divorce. It's just like, I'm
Well, who marries a marriage counselor anyway?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's someone for everyone, I guess.
I know, but that'd be so weird. I think marrying a therapist, and for all the therapists out there, more motivation for you. But wouldn't it be weird marrying someone who was a marriage counselor?
I would never marry a psychiatrist because I feel like they'd just be dissecting my brain
all
in
the time.
every fucking move.
Yeah, like I'm glad that they exist, but I would never want to be in a relationship with one.
It's like a prostitute.
Yeah, ooh,
I'm glad that they exist, but I don't really want to fucking take them home to me, Mom.
No. Like, I'd rather pay you for your service.
Again, very similar to a prostitute.
Very similar to a prostitute.
Fuck.
But don't come home with me. And
Let's leave this where it stays.
Let's just...
No, I get it. But I think people today are, and who the fuck knows, this is just my opinion, it absolutely means nothing, but I feel like people are the ones that bought into that narrative early on, you know, now find themselves divorced or splitting up and kind of figuring out who they are and totally engulfing themselves into their professional career, and then just turn into, you know, casual things with people, you know.
I've always been in very serious relationships from one to the next.
I was until I wasn't when I got sober. You know what I mean? Like I was,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was never single for very long.
Well, they say, I was told recently, the magic that I'm in search of is in the work that I'm avoiding. Right? So obviously I'm avoiding looking into the whole relationship thing. So I'm sure there's a lot to be said there for me. It's just, I don't know. I haven't found the reason to get into that yet.
I'm going to ask you my dessert question. What is the sweetest thing you've ever done for someone else? It doesn't even have to be a girl. Just like the sweetest thing you've ever done for another person.
So right now, and I don't, I'm weird like with talking about things that I've done because I don't believe I deserve the credit, right? Like I think then it can turn into an egotistical thing. But I'm in the process right now of doing something that I'm really, really proud of. And my mother is everything to me. She's 83 years old. She endured the brunt of my addiction, right? She had bought me a plot. She was like literally preparing herself for my death, and she would
that kind of plot.
Yeah. Like, and she was like my number one fan. She would love me when I didn't love myself. She would pray for me when I didn't pray for myself. She'd feed me when I didn't feed me. You know, she was my one.
Oh my God, what a great mom.
Right? And I always loved her, and that was one of the motivating factors, one of the big ones behind me getting sober is like, I don't mind hurting me, but like I was raised with morals and values and a good heart. And I had a problem hurting people that I loved. That's always been a problem for me. I'm not just like this heartless fucking asshole that just is like, fuck the world. It's, you know, like I care. And, you know, when I went away to treatment the last time, her time looked, you know, precious. And then she came to visit me when I had 90 days and it looked like she had decreased in age. Like, so all of a sudden, like, she became my fucking right hand. We're thick as thieves. I can't get enough of her. And, do so much with her. She's so funny too. I follow her around and I film her and I take pictures. She's like, "You're sick. You're a pervert. All you do is follow your mother around and take pictures of her." And I'm like, "You're kind of right. I do." But I know it's a long answer to get to where I'm going. But she's turning 83 in December. All she cares about in life is Rod Stewart, Pepsis, cigarettes, and giraffes. I've been to more Rod Stewart concerts than I can fucking tell you. But for her 83rd birthday, I'm throwing her this really big surprise birthday party, and I'm flying in a Rod Stewart cover band from Boston. I have this humongous ice sculpture of a pack of Marlboro Lights. I have a stripper that will come out and sing happy birthday to her. I have like a character drawer, a magician, a harpist that will play music throughout. You know, a whole dessert buffet and like this video that will be played and presented, you know, because I filmed tons of content with her.
Yeah.
And like this whole thing, like I'm just making it so elaborate and gaudy and obnoxious.
Are you going to have the stripper dress up as a giraffe?
No, my mother was, it should be, but my mother was a nuclear physicist. She was on the board of Mercy Hospital, insanely intelligent.
Wow.
So the stripper will be a doctor.
Okay, that's hot
Yeah,
too.
totally. But the giraffe comes into play because the clients at so I own a treatment center as well, Redemption Addiction Treatment Center, where I'm at, and the thing I love most is running group every day with my clients. I really like to be hands-on with. But I thought and decided that a great idea would be to have the clients. We're really big with art therapy, and we really promote just freedom of expression, right? And figuring out what you love to do, right? Those pleasures. So I had the clients do the invites, and we had made a big contest out of it. And I have all these invites, and I can show some to you. they're fucking amazing, but it's like Giraffes with Rod Stewart and like kind of like ransom letters where they cut out of the magazine the letters.
Oh, cool.
It's-
Like the Joker.
yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly. So it's,
How neat.
and that I'm really proud of this party that we're throwing for her.
When is
it's
that going to be?
December 14th.
Oh, cool.
And like it will, because she loves to be the belle of the ball, right? She loves to brag. She loves to talk about things, and like she'll brag about this
That's
for the
so
rest of
sweet.
her life.
Yeah.
This is like it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have a treatment center. What was it called?
Redemption Addiction Treatment Center.
Redemption Addiction Treatment Center.
Yeah.
And then where else can people find you?
So, I mean, just to make it easy, if you just go to my social media or my website, which is brandonnovak.com, it takes you to everything else. But I once I got sober, I started like, really figuring out who I was and what I liked, and what I learned that I loved more than anything were like skateboarding and drugs. So I was like, I want to figure out a way to just kind of devote or create, a life that I believe is worth waking up for every day and not having a drink or a drug over, but also dedicating it to the people who are where I once was, right? I battled with a heroin addiction for, alcoholism and addiction for 22 years, and I just couldn't fucking get it. And now that I have, and this probably plays a big part into why I'm not in a relationship, because I just am so passionate about what I do. It's kind of like they say, crazy is crazy until it finds its narrative, and then it becomes brilliant. Right. And now my crazy, which is just being devoted 24/7 to helping those who are where I was, is now kind of created this brilliant narrative to where I'm just as consumed by skateboarding and drugs. But the only difference is I don't use the drugs, and I'm blessed with a beautiful life because of them. Almost like my poison has become my medicine, a very fucking like deep, magical thing that exists in recovery. So at 5 years sober, I decided I was going to open a sober living house like the one I had lived in, that did for me what no other place had ever done. It taught me how to like reintegrate or merge back into society. And so on my 5th year anniversary, I opened up my very first men's sober living house called Novak's house. And that was one house with 10 beds. And today we have 7 houses with 75 beds for men and women. And I travel around, and I have generous friends who occasionally like to stroke a checkbook and provide scholarship funds, because my mission is to never let price be a deterrent as to why someone can't fucking find a better way of living. Right?
Yeah.
And then when I was doing that, and I wish that the houses didn't exist, I wish there was no demand for what I provide, but there is. I was like, I can do more. I can be better. I can help a larger amount. And that's when Redemption was created. And it makes so much sense that to a lot of people it just doesn't make fucking sense.
Yeah.
Right? And I have a life today that like I fucking can't get enough of. And I'm excited to wake up over. And it brings me to all these like insanely rad places, like here today, to sit down and talk with a complete fucking stranger about things that otherwise we probably wouldn't have a lot in common.
Yeah.
For the greater good of this thing called reality, which is an acquired taste in itself anyways.
Yeah. Well, typically you'd be a very scary person for me to talk to, just with your history. I would be terrified. I would be like, I don't think I could talk to you, because I don't know. I wouldn't know how to start talking to you.
Sure.
I'd be like, this guy's just gonna think I'm some fucking idiot.
No.
But it is cool, and I appreciate you coming on my show and being so open about it. Because I wouldn't have probably ever approached you.
Sure. And honestly, if we're going with that approach, I too would think that we really wouldn't have much in common. Although you kind of would fit the stereotype of the women that I've been involved with in the
Yeah,
past.
I would
right?
totally be the umbrella.
Yeah. So
Because
unlike
you've got
you
the
think
look
that we
and
have
you're
a lot
hot. I'm
in
like,
common.
ooh, he's a bad boy.
Yeah.
So like,
and then you're gonna love it out of me, right? And you're gonna change me, and you're gonna fix me, and you're gonna help me, and then I just end up like fucking
Disappointing.
totaling your car and emptying
my
out your
God.
bank account, and your father then wants to fucking kill me.
yeah.
But
It
that
wouldn't
was
end
then.
well.
Today there would be a different ending, but unfortunately, I don't want to be in a fucking relationship. So you're fucked.
It's okay. I'm
You're married
pregnant.
with a kid.
Yeah. So
You're just baggage to me at this point. You're just like a fucking headache.
I know.
Ladies, I'm kidding. Kinda. Like I prefer
already-
to do kitten over a kid any day of the week.
I don't
But-
blame you. I'm someone else's problem.
Yeah. Well, cheers to him and cheers to you
Yeah.
for finding.
I'm sure he'd like to rent me out though, occasionally, and just be like, here, just like I always tell him that I would never get kidnapped. I eat too much food. I talk too
You'd
much.
be a pain in the ass.
Oh
yeah.
my God. They just kick me right out. I'd be
Yeah.
like, wait, what about dinner?
Yeah. Well,
So-
you don't have to worry about that with him, being he owns a restaurant.
That is true.
You'll never fucking starve.
For sure. Anyway,
I hope I did you justice here today with what you generally go over.
it's been really nice talking to you.
I enjoyed myself.
I truly, honestly appreciate you coming on my show. Thank you.
Yeah. The feeling is mutual.
I appreciate it. And I would love to have you back whenever you come back into Austin and hear about your updates and how you're doing.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have like a relationship in my life.
Bring your mom.
My mother, yes.
I would
do
love
that.
it if you brought your mom. I even had a couch.
She's a lot.
Great.
She's a fucking lot.
Then you don't even need to come. Just tell her I want her on my podcast.
But her attention span is the size of a fucking gnat.
Same.
And she would not sit here unless she could smoke in here. I'll tell you that right now. She's reverted back to like childlike behavior. This woman was a fucking brilliant woman. And I believe, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and we kind of turn into
Could I give her a vape pen?
parents. Yeah, but she won't do it. She'll
It's the Marlboros.
or nothing. But she's reverted back to childlike behavior. She doesn't like to. She only likes candy. She doesn't really like to brush her teeth. She doesn't like to shower. She's just like a child. And I had to recently. This is juxtaposition the way the world right sizes me. She's dealt with me through everything, right?
Yeah.
I take her to Baltimore to have her teeth pulled. She had to have 8 teeth pulled. I pick her up. I take her to the dentist, get her teeth pulled. Then I go across the street to the Safeway, and I have like a nicer, newer Range Rover, right? And it's clean. And I don't smoke in it. I don't smoke. She comes out of the dentist office. She's sitting in my passenger seat with galls all in her mouth and like nodding out from all the anesthesia she was on to have the teeth pulled, and blood just kind of coming out. I go into the Safeway to get her script of pain pills filled, and I walk out. She's literally nodded out in my passenger seat with a cigarette hanging out of her mouth, with blood and galls just fucking dripping out, and I have her pain pills in my hand, and I'm like, if the tables haven't fucking turned. And that is life, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much for coming on my show. This was lovely. Thank you guys for watching this
enjoyed it.
episode. It's been
And real
super
quick,
fun.
before we leave, if anyone needs help, they can call me directly at 610-314-6747.
Oh, do you babysit?
No, I want
Okay.
no part of kids.
Okay, so
You clearly didn't listen to anything I talked about
Sorry.
for the last
I'll
20
do better
minutes.
next time. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
First date, baby.
Are you really drinking a glass of milk with dinner?
First date, I can't wait.
You told your mom about me?
Just say you're ready.
Delete my number.